Diamonds in the rough. NFL Draft Diamonds. Time to shine.
Hi, my name is Jimmy Williams with NFL Draft Diamonds, and today I have with me Tyler Dressler, who's a linebacker out of Richmond. How are you today, sir?
Doing well, Jimmy. Thanks for having me. Seems like yesterday we had our first episode together. So
Yeah, we tried this last year, and obviously things have changed a little bit. I no longer have the nasty COVID haircut. Switched things around somewhat, gave us a little bit more light in the room. So yeah, it looks a whole lot better than that last video. So don't watch that last video. Um, hey, bud, tell everybody a little bit about yourself. Who is Tyler Dressler? Walk us through a little bit of your journey. Tell us first where you're from, and just kind of get us there to Richmond, if you don't mind.
yeah, so I'm from Covington, Virginia, which is a really small town in the southwest part of Virginia. Growing up, played a lot of sports with my brother. He was 2 years ahead of me. Played baseball, football, basketball, did all kinds of things together. He got recruited, ended up going to play at Concord, which is a Division II school in West Virginia. My senior year came around, was not heavily recruited for football. I only had two Division I offers. The initial one was at VMI, is where one of my position coach is now. And then later on was Richmond, and that position coach from VMI actually went over to Richmond, and fortunately, he pulled me with him. So it was almost like a last second switch from VMI over to Richmond, if you're following me on that. And I was very fortunate to have the opportunity, and would never go back. When I'm really satisfied where I'm at now. So that's pretty much my journey of how I ended up at Richmond.
Great. Well, I mean, obviously you had at least one coach that fell in love with you, so that's great. Obviously he's like, "Come to me. We will, continue our relationship."
For sure.
Um,
Coach Wood, he would never tell you that to my face, but no, he's a great coach for sure.
Awesome. Well, I mean, obviously, one of the reasons why we're doing this is because, hopefully you might have the chance to have a pro scout actually fall in love with you too. So, why don't you tell those guys just a little bit about you as a linebacker? What do you feel is like? Well, first of all, what type of a linebacker are you, and what do you believe is like one of your better attributes as a player?
For sure. I would think I'm more of the player that's just extremely dedicated to his craft. For example, I believe preparation really is most of the game before you even go into it. I think one of my best attributes is really my work ethic, and it's not just coming from me on my own. I give a lot of the credit to my linebacker core as well. Those guys, iron sharpens irons mentality, and we're really passionate about that. But for example, I mean, the amount of film that we watch, the amount of extra work that we put into the weight room, all of those things contribute to the game before we even play it. So really, that's just the type of player that I am. Like I said, very dedicated, but also very passionate as well. And that's something that's relatively hard to explain, just like on a Zoom call. But rather, I think that would be best heard from my teammates and my coaches. So that's the type of player that I am. I'm pretty firm in that belief.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a guy who has been at it, on the field, in the weight room, doing some great things. I mean, the stats were a little weird, with those 4 games for this COVID year. So it's like I don't know what to make of it. But I mean, going back to 2019, getting over 100 tackles. I mean, obviously that's typically the benchmark for a lot of linebackers. Is hey, I want to get up over that. And you also had 12 tackles for loss that year as well. Hopefully, whenever we see some ball in, for this fall, we'll be able to see those numbers once again, if not obviously a little bit more. So realize also that you're a team captain. You've been a team captain now for 2 years. Tell me just a little bit about you as the leader of that defense, and maybe what kind of a leader you are.
Right. I think I'm more of a vocal leader, but also maybe a mix of that with also lead by example. I'm not the type of guy that's going to go around and tell you I'm the captain of the football team. I'm not going to brag about that. Really, I learn more from the guys than they learn from me. But I would say just getting to become a captain, I had a lot of great captains to look up to. Starting out at Richmond, I don't know if you're familiar with Kyle Lauletta, who was a quarterback for us for a long time, and he's had a successful career in the NFL. And then there's some other guys as well that I had to look up to, and I took a lot of those attributes just from those guys, and I applied them to myself, and then I ended up becoming a captain myself. So, like I said, how I ended up there, I mean, my teammates saw something in me that I'm really happy about, and it's worked out so far. So.
Well, I mean, obviously a smart guy, putting on these glasses that are going to help you like not get a headache, as we're staring at this computer screen all day long. So, appreciate that. But so this past season, obviously not exactly what a lot of guys wanted. Um, 2018 completely non-existent because of the pandemic, or 2020 non-existent because of the pandemic. So just talk to us a little bit about this whole pandemic and maybe how it has affected you, how you've stayed motivated throughout everything, and if maybe you've, I don't know, gotten better at some aspect of your game and who you are. So talk to me about this COVID year, man.
Yeah, I'll start with like just how it really affected like who we were as a team, and I'll say it for myself as well. There was certainly some highs and lows, and I think that was for teams all across the country. I mean, nobody really escaped what COVID. Nobody was really prepared. There was no real playbook like how to handle that whole COVID situation. However, I do think, and I firmly believe that our teams made a lot of great strides forward. We took the opportunity to put in the extra work to get better, to learn the playbook better, to do all types of things, and that was seen in our spring play. I mean, we went 3-1, and then I really think the guys were motivated the entire time, and that rubbed off on me, and it was just it was a mutual relationship. So it did. We did go 3-1. We had high hopes for the postseason. We didn't really talk about this much, but didn't really work out the way we planned it. We went 3-1, like I just said, and we lost to the number one team in the nation. And I do believe that a lot of teams do not still see us as a serious football team, as a serious threat in the FCS. However, I will say that us not making that postseason has motivated this team more than ever. And I'm going to stick up for my guys. I firmly believe that we can compete at the highest level of football right now with any team in the FCS. So we'll see that next fall. And I'm usually not one to be cocky or, I'm usually more the humble side, but I'll speak for my team, and we're ready to play football.
Well, I mean, let's just kind of set the record straight. I mean, you're in a conference which is probably really one of the most competitive conferences in all of the FCS in the Colonial Athletic.
Mhm.
So you're facing some really good talent from top to bottom, really. And I feel like any of those guys really have the potential to upset. We've seen upsets across the board, in the Colonial. So anything really could happen. I mean, JMU is always the team to beat. So I mean, they were the team that obviously you guys had that one loss to, but if you could upset those guys, I mean, that's really what you got to do. I mean, you got to be able to beat the defending champs and just kind of go from there. So,
Yeah.
but I feel like you have a good solid group there too. So I mean, obviously you there as a leader on defense. Uh, so tell me about some of your better moments there out on the football field, either from these past four games or just kind of throughout your career in general. So, um, has there been maybe a one moment or highlight that still sticks out in your memory?
I remember our interview last year, and I told you it was the first time I stepped on the field because just being from such a small town. But I think now it was shifted to my first interception that I got against Elon, which was this spring. For one reason, so I mean, the one obvious reason is it wasn't my first interception. It was just a great memory to have. But I think the second part was, as I mentioned before, was the preparation. We prepared for that play. They ran this stick to. They have a tight end that was very talented, and we knew they were going to run it early in the game. We prepared. We prepared. My coach just honed in on it. Just really had it locked into my head that play was coming, and it, I knew when the play happened, I was there for the play. And it wasn't even that I caught the interception. My teammate, Xavier Marshall, I almost got tackled right there as soon as I made the pick, just absolutely came and laid the hammer on somebody. And just he took them out of the play. I was able to run the ball down the field and put our offense into scoring position. They were able to punch the ball in. And this was against Elon, who in the past we have not been successful against. So I think that just kind of set the tone for the game, and we were actually able to pull off a win. And I think that was our first time beating them in my career here at Richmond. So it was something special.
Well, I mean, again, like I said before, I mean, Elon's got a good program. I mean, a lot of these teams that you face on a regular basis, I mean, very competitive. I mean, I know Elon, they have a pretty good quarterback there as well when he's healthy. I can't remember if he actually played.
Yeah, Davis Peak. Yeah, he unfortunately, I think he had an ankle injury or something, and they struggled pretty bad with COVID. Like I said, historically in the recent years, I mean, they've had a good football team and a program, but I think they got hit by the injury bug pretty bad.
Right. Speaking of players, I mean, who do you think is like, I don't know, who's been one of those players that's kind of always been, I don't know, maybe like the best guy that you've ever faced, like opposite you? I mean, obviously played a lot of great talent in your conference, but who's maybe the one player that you were just wowed by on the opposing team?
Man, I'm thinking of two. The first two are people that come to my head. I think one was AJ Dillon at Boston College. I had a lot of respect for his game, his power, and his speed. And another one, and I don't want to butcher his name, is Obase, the running back from JMU. I'm sure you're familiar with him. Just a great running back. I mean, he can find a hole when there's nothing there. It doesn't take one guy to take him down. It's going to take two. I know that's for sure. And he's got a great talent too. And I think it's been a pleasure playing with both of those guys. And I think both AJ Dillon, he's in the NFL now, and I'm sure Obase will be there as well. So
Yeah, actually, Percy is actually from my hometown,
really,
so
no, no,
it's kind of neat, getting to know him. I mean, he's a good dude off the
for
field too.
sure.
So, um, but yeah, I mean, playing against some great talent. I mean, obviously AJ Dillon is one of those guys where completely wowed a whole lot of people. Very hard to take down. Big bruiser of a back. I mean. And obviously, he got drafted fairly high to the Packers. So yeah, I mean, obviously playing some good talent. So let's take a minute, get to know you just a little bit off the field. So, who is Tyler Dressler outside of football? Just tell me a little bit about yourself, hobbies, interests, talents, anything, and we'll just kind of go from there with our conversation.
Okay, I'll say I'm a family guy. It's the first thing that pops into my head. I'm the youngest of five siblings, so I got two older brothers and two older sisters. And I would like to think that I just love to compete in everything I do. And I know my oldest brother TJ made the comment. And we were just a simple wiffle ball game outside, and I take it so serious. And it doesn't matter anything I do. I just love to compete, and he'll always get mad at me. Just a fun memory that pops into my head. And I think that just really shows who I am as a person. Everything I love to do, I just love to compete, and I just have so much passion. And it can be the smallest things. I mean, if we're playing Monopoly, I'm the worst person to play with because I'm going to take it extremely serious. So that's just who I am as a person, and I think that kind of shows in my football game as well. So
Yeah, we don't even play Monopoly anymore, man. It's just sometimes it gets violent. So
it
I li
does.
I literally remember some buddies back in college like almost getting into a fist fight, and I'm not even joking over like some of the rules. It's like, man, you're supposed to pay me when I land. No,
Yeah.
no, no. Anyhow, sorry. Um, anything else about you that you want to share? I mean,
hmm
what's your favorite movie, man? You got a favorite movie that you like to
Movie?
watch?
Oh man, something about me and the favorite movie. I think my favorite movie is probably I want to say Shawshank Redemption. Or is no. It's supposed to be my favorite movie. And I didn't say it's Shawshank, yeah, with Tom Hanks. I think either that or
That's
Saving
that's
Private.
not Tom Hanks.
That's not Tom Hanks. No, I'm thinking of I'm
You're
sorry.
thinking of Green Mile?
Maybe I'm thinking of The Green Mile.
He
Uh,
was in the Green Mile. Shawshank has got Morgan
it's the
Freeman in
prison.
it.
Yeah, no, it's the prison movie with is Denzel Washington in that? Am I mistaken? All right, you know what? We're gonna scratch that. We're gonna scratch that. we'll scratch that part. Obviously, I'm not very updated on my movie characters. So we'll go Saving Private Ryan. That Tom Hanks is certainly in that
All
one.
right, all right, all right. Well,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
know he's in that one for sure.
Tom Hanks is a good actor, but I mean, we also mentioned a whole lot of other great guys there. I mean, I will say, I mean, I know you kind of breezed over it, but I love Shawshank. Shawshank
I
is an
think it's a
awesome
great
movie.
movie. I don't know why I forgot to
Um,
mention part of it.
Morgan Freeman's in that
Morgan
movie. I
Freeman's
mean,
doing
you
some
gotta
great.
love Morgan Freeman. I mean, that deep, like very well, like known voice. But some of those other things too. I mean, that you had mentioned. Tom Hanks probably one of my favorite actors. Of all time. Been in some great things. A lot of people forget like the old stuff, but you know, still a Forrest Gump fan myself. So
Forrest Gump, yeah.
you gotta love that movie. Every time it's on TV, I always stop and watch it just for kicks.
Yeah,
Um,
scratch that part. Not updated on my movie characters, and supposed to be out here marketing myself.
no, it's all good. Uh, what if you were to give some advice to your younger self? I mean, what might you tell 17-year-old Tyler back in high school?
I would say just don't stress so much. Just trust the process. I know when I was younger, I had a lot of stress. Knowing I was from a small town, just trying to get recruited and play football, and just kind of just go with the flow. Sometimes trust God, believe in the process, know that what's meant to happen is gonna happen. So
Gotcha. And what's like, I don't know, the best lesson you ever learned from a coach? Like, can you think of maybe one of the better lessons that you ever learned from a coach, like over your years?
um, Coach Wood, I will say there's kind of two that are kind of popping in my head. The first is just to be a good man in everything you do, and however you do something is how you do everything. Pretty passionate believer in that. It could be something very small. What you do in a small situation is really going to have you can do something in a larger situation. That and just be thankful for the opportunity that you're placed in. I know that a lot of people would love to do what I do, love to do what you do, love to do what just in people in general. And a lot of people don't have those opportunities. They'll never have that door open for them for whatever reason. So just be grateful for the situation that you're placed in, and just keep moving forward.
Great. So now, Tyler, I kind of want to shift gears and try and wind down a little bit. I always try my best to ask guys the why question. So hit me with your why. Why do you play this great game? And what's a little bit of your motivation?
I'd say my why is just to really give my family a better life, and just I hope one day that they will have no worries. Growing up was not always the easiest thing, and I really just want to take that's really my why. And every day when I wake up, I want to make sure that I'm not disappointing anybody that really has put effort into me, who has put resources into me, and who's put time into me, anything. So every day, if you're feeling sorry for yourself, or you don't want to get up and go to 6 a.m. workouts, or you're dreading practice, you got to remember that those family members who invested all this thing into you are depending on you, and they want you to be successful. So I really think that's my why. That's what drives me every single day.
Great. And have you graduated from Richmond yet? Like, what's your situation academically?
Right. So I just graduated with my undergrad in healthcare studies and a minor in business entrepreneurship. And then now I'm doing a graduate year. So basically, I'll just be going to school and playing football in the spring. And then I'll be able to finish my master's in the fall. And I'm getting that in human resources. So.
Cool. And so, like, do you have something in your mind as to maybe what you might do? Like, if football wasn't there, like, do you have maybe like a job that you would, maybe steer towards?
Yeah, so I've actually did some interviews and did some job shadowing and internships, and right now I'm actually talking to a young man who's involved with Stryker, who's basically into pharmaceutical sales and surgery sales with equipment and stuff, and just kind of been going in and trying to get a better look in the company, and I'm hoping that I can eventually shadow him as well. So and he's just kind of given me just kind of a rundown of the company. He said it's very difficult. There's no vacation days and stuff like that. And he's like, is this something interesting? I said, I do that every day now. There's no vacation days now anyway. So basically trying to get somewhere within the healthcare field.
Gotcha. Well, before you get there, let's give all these guys in the NFL your last pitch as to why they should give you the opportunity to play at the next level. So talk to all those 32 teams in the NFL and tell them why they should take a chance on a kid out of Covington, Virginia.
Gotcha. I remember this question from last year, and I really like my answer. And I think I said it was the passion for my game. I'll do whatever it takes to make the team better. I don't care if it's carrying the water bottles for the number one guy, and I don't care if I need to be put in the most critical situation in the game. Whatever it takes to make that team better, to make them win football games, I'm going to do it. And that's just who I am as a person.
Yeah, I mean, I do have you in my notes as probably one of the, you know, really one of the most popular, best linebackers in the FCS. I mean, you're definitely amongst them. Some pretty decent size there too, about 6'3", 245 pounds. So able to move around a little bit, whether you're going to be there on the interior or maybe play on the outside in some schemes. So I mean, definitely a player that can be used, and already acknowledged your ability to be a leader too. So to be a leader, to set an example, and to just kind of be a good worker, like whatever they need you to do. Obviously, if you're going to be the water boy, I mean, you're going to do it with
Whatever.
passion.
Right.
Uh,
Absolutely.
Tyler, man, I appreciate us sitting down once again. I wish you best of luck moving forward, buddy.
Yes, sir. I greatly appreciate it. And, thank you for taking the time to, have me on here. So it really means a lot to me.
Sure. Once again, this is Tyler Dressler. He's a linebacker out of Richmond. Definitely check him out.